Well, welcome to another series of the Brilliant Business Minds. I'm joined by a guy that's been running a jingle for probably, I reckon, 20 odd years that's still got legs in it. A man that knows everything about sonic triggers, Glenn Callegari from Hillzeez Surf Shop. All the gear, all the year. How are you, Glenn?
Yeah, good, thanks, Dousty. Thanks for having me.
Mate, it's great to see you and great to have a chat. Look, the objective of these series is pretty simple, really, to talk to our friends and family in the RMS circle about business and how other businesses are coping during the pandemic. Western Australia are probably the best place in the world to be right now. But how did you first react when you first immediately saw a drop in store traffic and a pretty high likelihood of having to close the stores?
Yeah, I think from the immediate onset, I think it was when it was mid-March, 15th of March, 16th of March. Yeah, it was around when a state emergency was declared, and I thought, oh, this is serious. And then the impact of restrictions, they started affecting other industries first, and obviously travel events. I remember vividly being in a doctor's surgery and for a checkup and waiting in the waiting room, and I didn't see it. There was a sign on the door: no cruise ship passengers allowed. Please dial number. And the whole idea was it wasn't xenophobic or anything. It was like, we will see you, but ring the number and we'll see you outside and fulfill your needs. But someone walked in and was asked, "Are you off a cruise ship?" And he said, "Yeah, I just need a script." And all of a sudden, the whole waiting room just like turned, and I thought, "Wow, this is like." It was almost a movie-like scene, and gradually the news was falling, falling every hour, every day, and gradually, when's it going to impact us? And the truth in it was it impacted us straight away. Yeah. But it was like trying to catch a falling knife. It was and everyone who listens to this would have had their own situation that they went through, but it became a realization, and I thought straight away, my problems aren't going to be any bigger than anyone else's right now. We're all affected. It's a pandemic. No one's going to get through this unscathed. To get through this, most likely you're going to have to take a risk at some point. And you're really going to have to make sure that you communicate to everyone that's valuable to you. That's your customers, that's your staff, job security first and foremost for them. It's your supply chain. You've got, in our game anywhere, 3 to 6 month lead time on product. So you've got product in the water, in the docks, on the road, in depots. And if everything freezes, what happens? It's the value of the relationship with your insurance company, where you work out, okay, well, what happens if my shops are shuttered for 90 days? My insurance says null and void. All of a sudden you're like, breaking, looting, not covered. That sinks me. So there's scenarios that are in your head at that point in time. But you got to take a balanced, measured approach, and you got to show leadership. I guess it's the value of relationships. I mean, I've dealt with the same people for many years, and that sort of really helped through, because I imagine if you're shopping everyone out every year, your insurance or your suppliers, you hadn't paid them on time, or maybe, or dealing with people like yourself for an extended period of time, you say, well, they know me, I know them, and everyone's a human face to this. Everyone's got a business. Everyone's wondering what happens. So it was just communicating to all those key stakeholders And
it's
then
one of those events really where you almost have a I know where I was kind of moment where when that happened, don't you? I mean, you were saying you're in the doctor's surgery. I remember I was actually walking along the beach in Busselton with my wife. We dropped our son off at school down that way, and we just went for a walk on the beach and had a chat about, you know, how we were going to handle it and the fact that everyone's in it together. And, you know, if the mortgage needs to go on hold, well, you know, there's going to be that many properties, you know, people owning properties going to the same banks with the same issues. So, yeah, it's interesting to hear communication and looking after people around you was pretty important there. Was that one of the positives that came out of all this, Glenn? I mean, has it strengthened those relationships?
It has. I think how well you come out of this is how much you also nurture the relationship through it. So it definitely you can't tangibly measure your value to someone, but through this crisis you soon found out what you're worth to people. You know, landlords as a tenant, dealing with them, dealing with staff that were just, you know, grateful you're trying to minimise the damage. You know, the punt on JobKeeper, it was we paid it from the first week. There was, you know, you could get enough read in the media, and it become like that. You're just listening to ScoMo, going, okay, well, where's this headed? And part of you trying to be part economist, trying to part futurist, trying to synthesize all this data from a risk management perspective. What can I do now? Almost with a no regrets attitude. You didn't have the luxury of, all right, in normal course of business, you've got months to strategically plan your roadmap and the like. You had to do this on the fly. So for me, making sure that my staff remembered. Actually, I did tell myself at the end of the day, people are going to remember this period and going to remember what you were like during it. So don't be a dick. What I told myself.
I think that could become the quote of this interview. Don't be a dick.
Sorry, I wasn't going to swear on this. So look, my staff were grateful. They all had mortgages. They all had unknowns. And JobKeeper, I mean, I was paying my staff before they actually knew what JobKeeper was. Purely because I wanted to provide some surety that their financial future had some certainty about it.
Now, mate, without prying into your family life, I know you're a very strong family man, and I noticed the Queen wandering around in the background there at one stage. Did it mean more time for you with family or less? How did that impact?
In all honesty, it was probably similar amount of time, but the time was probably more quality time. So I guess Dad being Dad was all sorts of reports, what's happening in the world, what's happening in other states. Is that a telltale to, you know, stage 4 restrictions coming? I'll be planning for that. But it was really because you do try and strike balance all the time with your family. But it was definitely a period where we had some great family moments, as I'm sure everyone would. The fact that you couldn't go anywhere. We had with our oldest daughter lives in Perth, and it was making sure how she was going. She couldn't travel, border restrictions. Next turned 18 during the pandemic, so it was a different sort of 18th. The quality 18th, and he'll remember that. And beer pong with parents, maybe it's not what he envisaged. And you know, and then homeschooling kicked in, and hats off to the wife. I think that's another thing. We very much value the education system in this country, and value our teachers. Because
we suddenly
have
a new respect for the teachers, don't we?
Okay.
How do you view the marketplace looking ahead for bricks and mortar businesses? Are you confident in what lies ahead in the future?
Yeah, I am. I think I read something that said this is like the great amplification, not the great recession or like. And I sort of subscribe to the theory that any industry laggard is going to be left behind, and who are on the front foot and had healthy businesses probably should get through. There's a few things there. I like the analogy of the Formula pretty much came out. That's the government, ScoMo in the front and the passenger seat, and we're all stacked up behind this safety car, and we knew the restrictions, the stimulus, everything the government's putting in play. Eventually, that safety car will drive off into the distance.
Yeah,
and how much fuel you got in the tank, how healthy your vehicle is, will determine how much you gap your opposition, or if you're still in the race.
Yeah.
So during this period of lockdown, and sort of when we were backed up with everyone, we thought, well, how we come out of this is about what we do now. And obviously a lot of pivot's probably the word that's overused. I wouldn't say we pivoted, but we did pivoting. I saw it as with job subsidies in play, it gave you an opportunity to experiment with different ideas, or fast track what you may have been sitting on before. And I guess it gave, executives, senior management around the country, around the world, this freedom where I wasn't going to get prosecuted for stuffing this up because got subsidies in play. It's a different world out there. Yeah. Let's go. I think a lot of business pivots, once the job subsidies are over, I think you might see some pivoted strategies work even without a job subsidy, where others were sort of tested and without a job subsidy in play,
they won't succeed.
Yeah, potentially. So, great playground for that. And I think it's me being a physical bricks and mortar retailer. I definitely think one thing I've learned is the connection to your consumer is critical. It's whether you're here or not. I keep telling my staff, I mean, I can be sacked. My customers can sack me. If they don't rock up, it's all over. So and there was a pretty much big reminder of that during March, April, when they weren't able to come in their usual freedom and their usual capacity to your shop front.
But any special plans for Hillzeez in the next 12 months?
Basically, the 12-month horizon looks, we've got shop fits. Look, I'm not going to say business as usual because I don't think that applies anymore.
No.
Heard anyone refer to, I can't wait to get back to business as usual. We had a certain roadmap that we pre-COVID about where we wanted to take things, and probably going to accelerate a few areas of that. How we fulfill our replenishment to our stores, making sure we've got size curve integrity, making sure we've got we don't miss a sale for any reason. There's digitalization is another sort of overused word. It means different things to different people. Trying to cut that lead time down from, like I said earlier, 3 to 6 months. We're trying to cut that down so we can react quickly, but also make sure we're that customer service experience where people choose to spend their money. The customer doesn't want to be a number. They want to feel valued. So we value all our customers. So it's really important that we're sending the right message and the right in-store experience to get that patronage. Probably what's happened in May, June with it's been really healthy is there's a lot of people that are reconnecting to local businesses, and the shop local aspect is really hard to measure. How many people feel like they want to support other people just coming in and buying stuff that they didn't actually need just because they felt like they wanted to help a local community family business.
I think there's an element of shop therapy, but I also think for once shop local has got some actual resonance. It's been something that business owners have talked about for a long time, but I don't think the marketplace generally has accepted it. I think the marketplace, from my read on it anyway, is the marketplace has actually engaged with that now. So, and it's great to see that there's a bright future there for I guess a more traditional business, if you like, in a world where everything that's new is idolised and held up there as the only way to go. So, mate, I'd love to chat all day, but I think I need to wrap it up and let people get back to business. So I have to say thanks very much for taking the time, Glenn. It's been a pleasure to catch up, and all the best to Hillzeez as we move ahead into whatever lies in our future.
Yep. Thank you, and it's a pleasure speaking with you as always.
Thanks, Glenn. Talk to you again.